Many of us dream of being ballerinas when we grow up. To live in a world where everything is possible and where art is beautiful and safe. The real-life story of Mamela Nyamza, one of South Africa's most acclaimed performers and choreographers, is far from fantasy. The beauty is remarkable, yet her stardom is born from something much deeper than sheer talent.
I was a child who wanted to be something. I didn't know what. I liked Brenda Fassie. I used to dance to Brenda Fassie. I liked the attention. When I danced, I wanted everybody to look at me.
What was the first step that Arlene Westergaard taught you?
When she used to speak Xhosa. Susu phakathi, mbundu, minca mbundu. Silevo phezulu. Phakamisa. Squeeze matanga, squeeze.
What's matanga?
Thighs.
Mamela grew up in Gugulethu, where she was raised by a loving grandmother and extended family. When she was 8 years old, she caught her first glimpse of ballet.
I used to go to this school called Songeze Primary School. There were a few kids who were going to the ballet school there already. So I asked them, they were doing jetés in class. And I was like, wow, what is that? I'm sure I can do this. I started imitating them, doing the splits. And they were like, wow, you can stretch your legs. And then I was like, yeah, I can. Where do you learn this? Because I feel like they got a bit of a training. So they told me that it's NY15 in a church. There's this white woman who teaches ballet. So I told my grandmother at home, and she actually accompanied me and some of my friends in the streets in Gugulethu. So we all went with our bathing costumes and plastics, following my grandmother to go and enroll us in this ballet school called Zama Dance School. We were afraid of the white people back in the days. It was 1984, 85. And also my grandmother was not good in English, but of course she could speak English better than us. And we were like just saying yes. We didn't even know what was going on. But all the answers we gave Aline was yes, we're coming. And that's how it all started.
She was small, I'm not sure how old, maybe 7, maybe 8, maybe a bit younger. She used to come to dancing with a little plastic packet, a Pick and Pay little packet, and in there was her leotard that we gave her, a little black leotard. She was so athletic, beautiful structure, and she was incredibly supple, magnificently supple.
Everything was kind of strange because I thought we were gonna be moving like cool stuff because I knew that I can do this. And then we had to be like strict. The neck, the tummy in, bum in, 10 out. And the music was classical. It's so funny, I was not bored by it. I was like, wow.
Indlela ebengithanda ngayo xa idansa bendisoloko ndibona ngumuntu o-right odansayo and ndifila ndi-happy kuba le nto ayenzayo uyayithanda and le nto ebeyenza ilapha kuye ngaphakathi. So even if uyafuneka ephekile endlini, xa funeka ephekile, xa siye ekitchen, just dancing, go to the kitchen.
I used to visit her granny, very warm woman. On this big bed there was Granny Nyamza and there was Mamela Nyamza in a house. The love that her grandmother surrounded her with was, for me, the power and part of the strength that Mamela grew up with and became part of her.
My grandmother was everything to me. Even though she was a domestic worker, she managed to pay for my ballet fees. I remember going to town with my grandmother. You know, we used to buy Christmas clothes before Christmas. I remember moments going with my grandmother to go and buy Christmas clothes.
At that time, when she was little, I don't remember ever mentioning her mom. I think I automatically thought her mother was somewhere, either had passed away at that stage or was living elsewhere.
As a child, I didn't understand why my mom was not home. And as I grew older, I got to understand because she's been through a lot. She was beautiful, that I know. But I can't remember her beauty because I saw it in pictures. Because I was young when she was destroyed her face.
What happened to her face?
My father's girlfriend got jealous of her beauty and she stabbed her in the face. And then that's how I feel like her life changed because she felt ugly. And then all of that changed her life. She started drinking, she started actually not feeling beauty. You know how it is when you don't feel beauty in your face, you start doing other things. I mean, my grandmother gave me all the love that I needed as a child. And I guess for me, there was just that mother love that was missing. And it's something that at times I used to ask myself, why is my mom not home? Going to ballet was like a new page, a new life for me. It was something that actually made me forget about my worries as a child and actually be disciplined. It gave me confidence. I didn't trust myself. I thought I was missing something, missing my mother's love. I felt there was something missing in my life. And ballet kind of closed that for me. It gave me love. It was love at first sight.
By the time Mamela matriculated, dance had become her greatest passion, and soon she was off on a scholarship to study at the Pretoria Technikon Ballet School.
It was 1994, the best times in South Africa, the transformation, Mandela becoming the president, so everything was kind of coming together. So I guess me as a dancer was the best time to be part of that history. I was only black girl in class, and that was like a shock because coming from Gugulethu, I've never had my own room. So being in a res, I was scared. I think I cried for 2 weeks.
She'd say things, oh gosh, Arlene, it's hard here, you know, everyone's speaking Afrikaans. And I said, it doesn't matter. You're not there to speak Afrikaans or any other language. You are there to dance, Mamela.
And dance she did. Fresh out of ballet school, Mamela auditioned for the prestigious Alvin Ailey School of Dance in New York. And she got in.
Tell us what being in New York meant for you as a dancer, as a person.
What an experience, because again, from Gugulethu to New York. I actually saw lots of black female dancers. I became comfortable and I became to appreciate my body more. And I didn't see anything wrong with my body after seeing other black female dancers with a bum like mine. I was taught to lift up, not to tuck in and be, so everything became lighter.
Dancer Mamela Nyamza had journeyed long and far to live her dream. After training at the Alvin Ailey School in New York, she returned to South Africa to join a professional dance company.
I enjoyed New York, but I'm such a home girl, so I came back home, and I was happy to be home. Within that year, my mom passed away.
So umama wathi no, ndimanga uzawufowuna umamam. So uzanele phone because we are so close kumamela uthethe naye ba makakhawuleza afike. But umamela wakhawuleza wafika. Ufika kwakhe khangabe ngumntana xa ivele into ba umama akasekho. She was strong, was just crying and then stop. She was not passed away sick, bengaguli. She was raped and killed.
That was the most traumatic times of my life because I've never had a relationship with this woman, and I used to see her like that all the time. So that was really hard for me, to a point where I became stiff. You know, when you have so much stress, one side of me could not turn. I was just like, and then I had sisters as well. All of them were young. I looked at them and I was like, here's me now becoming the mother because my mom passed away.
So you come back from New York and you have an idea of how life is going to be for you, but the rug gets pulled right from under you.
Yes, I have to start afresh again and then, I mean, even before that, when my mom passed away, I realized that I conceived. We were like high school sweethearts. So we were dating even though I was in New York. And then I came back. I felt pregnant, not knowing how, because I was like using contraceptives. Why? I wanted to dance. I just came back from New York, you know? So I wanted to dance. So I had those kind of things to weigh. Do I want to be a mother? Do I want to dance?
There's also something else that happened in New York.
Yes,
There's
yes.
another layer to this.
Yes, there is a layer to this. I experienced being with women in New York, and I think I've always had that experience, but I've never actually kind of brought it up because I was scared of the society, because I knew how people were treated at home were lesbians or women with other women. And also it was not something that was out there, but in New York, it was like out there. So for me, it was like, wow, this is actually beautiful. There's nothing wrong with it. So at the Elvin Ailey School, I experienced being with women. And then I came back home. I pretended that I don't know anything about it. I shattered it and continued my life with my boyfriend.
Mamela's early years were filled with a strong sense of Xhosa tradition. As a little girl, she'd accompany her granny to church in Gugulethu every Sunday, something she continues to this day. As a young woman with dreams of becoming a dancer, finding herself pregnant forced her to make some difficult, life-changing decisions.
In my culture, when you fall pregnant, they said ukunyuka nengalo. A man can take it further than just pregnancy and pay lobola. So my lobola was discussed then. So whatever I've experienced in New York was like a closed chapter. I had to now look at this new life, pregnancy, marriage, and being a wife. And that's what I did. I felt like I've lost my mom, I've gained something that was beautiful, a blessing in my life. This I would love unconditionally. I said to myself, I want to give him a proper family. I want him to have me, my husband, and us, because I've never had that as a child. So I lived that life, but that life did not work because there was this voice of like kind of looking at women, but of course not looking because I'm married, but it was always there. And also there was this voice of wanting to pursue myself, talking about issues in my work as a dancer. I had to do a job in Cape Town. I flew from Johannesburg. I looked in the window, and I mean, you see the sky, you see the clouds. I was weeping like a child, nonstop, asking myself, why am I living like this? This is not the life I want to live. I actually want to go on stage and perform my work, and I want to leave this marriage because this is not me. I was hiding myself even from somebody who was looking at the sky, crying, crying, crying. And I told myself, I'm never gonna cry like this again. This is the last time I cry like this. And it was the last time because after that cry, I knew exactly what is going to happen next. I had to think of so many things now because I'm a mother. What is my child gonna think of me when I decide about this life I want to take? I'm a wife. What is my husband gonna think? I have a family. What is my family gonna say? Despite all of that, I said, I live once, and this is the only life I have. And if I don't actually take this leap now, I will regret my life.
Mamela, endlini as a family khange sibe na kuyithatha qala kwayo yonke lento into yobana uMamela she's taking another step ba makacontinuation nobomi bakhe. So khange sithathe because ibingeyonto popular yenziwa ngabantu, but awukwazi ukumgqibela umntana uthi no, don't do this, do this, because bubomi bakhe ekupheleni ngomso nguye ozawo milana nalonto.
In her first solo work, Hatched, Mamela tells her own story. It crystallizes the personal and professional risk she has taken to leave her marriage, raise her son alone, and enter the uncertain world of an independent artist.
My son came with me. And of course, during my divorce, we had to go through a lot of stuff because it was not a clean divorce. It was kind of very heavy because we were also kind of figuring out, am I going to be able to take care of my son as an artist? And also, as a lesbian, will I take care of my son? And luckily, I'm in a country where the institution allows us to be married as gay and lesbian people and to actually be mothers.
From where I come from, many women would endure, you understand, just for the sake of keeping peace. But she didn't. And I think it's also related to that thing that I was attracted to her. That's presence. She's present in her own whole. So she was present in her own soul, saying, no, this is not for me. I have to say it like this, and I have to move.
First time I created my first piece of Vietnam's house as well. So I would also use the place to create a piece called Hatch. And I felt like I was hatching now, for real. My son just hatched. I'm also hatching as a different woman now, being free. And that piece became one of my landmark works because it talked about me as a woman, talked about me as a mother, it talked about me as an artist. It was a leap for me because I became this person that I am today.
Mamela's son Amkele is part of the story she tells in Hatched. He's on stage, drawing, just as he always does while his mom is rehearsing.
When I see my mom on stage, it's like she's gone to another world. Even though I've never met my grandmother, when I see my mom on stage, I sometimes see my grandmother through her.
I felt the connection so strong with my mother. I didn't feel like when I was on stage I was alone. I felt like she was with me because off stage I prayed and asked God and my mother and my ancestors, I would call all of them and said, I'm gonna go on stage now. I remember one time I performed with my son. I hold hands with him. I said, my boy, we're gonna do this for the first time. We've been rehearsing now. We're gonna do this on stage. We're asking everybody who's behind us to be there with us on stage and do this. And my son said, Mom, you're gonna do this, and this piece of yours is gonna be the best piece ever. Let's go on stage and do this. And my son's voice gave me so much strength. I felt the grace on stage. Movement came from within. I expressed emotion inside that moved me. In reverse, it was moving the audience. And I did not know what I was doing because I felt like I was in such a trance.
Mamela Nyamza is a dancer and choreographer whose creativity has no boundaries. Her art comes straight from life itself, exploring controversial themes head-on. In Shift, she invites her audience to pelt her with 27 tennis balls to symbolize the rape and murder of a lesbian soccer player who was stabbed 27 times.
I think we need to deal with pain in order to come free. We need to heal ourselves through our art in order to be free. So in a way, for me to go on stage, I'm healing myself, I'm also healing other women like me. The performance on stage, it's like if you call me a sangoma, somebody who's like preaching to the audience. So I feel like whatever I'm saying inside, they are feeling it.
She's got such strength. That's something I never knew in her as a child. I would never have known until I saw this beautiful orchid unfolding, flowering.
Adele Blank, esteemed South African dance teacher and choreographer, understands the enormous creative courage and sheer physical discipline it takes to be a performer such as Mamela.
She's an artist and she's very lateral in her thinking. I mean, she's a magnificent dancer, but she's broadened it beyond that, much beyond that, theatrically, direction, not scared to try anything.
She has a strong presence, and you can see that it's not just an ordinary presence, you know, there's something more. You know, the way she's doing her stuff, her work, you know, it's all spiritual. So I think that attracted me to her.
I feel like so content with Nyamza. I feel so complete. We're like any other family, you know? And I see that in my son's behavior.
We just want to live our normal life, quiet life, and be happy where you are.
I feel grounded and shielded and supported as an artist as well. It's not like I'm in a situation where I feel like somebody is saying, don't do that. Instead, she is saying, do it.
I think this is one of the highlights, I think. Yeah. You see, brilliant work that she's doing.
This is the big one. The Stand-Up
Is it?
Young
Yes,
Artist is,
yes.
is the big one. You're very proud of her.
Yes, I am.
You're very proud.
I am.
I think she's gonna be like Pina Bausch, like an icon and inspiring other dancers. I think she's gonna have her own studio where people usually come and perform, and it's written Mamela's Theatre, something like that.
I was walking in Long Street the other day, and I was like saying to myself, thank God for my life. I feel happy. Like I'm, all the gaps, I feel like they're closed. I'm no longer that artist who's working on the edge. Last week, I was getting so many emails. And I've never been to Paris. I'm invited to Paris. I'm invited to Germany. I feel like now I'm living my dream. Because I'm traveling the world now. And for me, that is like the best thing. Living like an artist that I've always dreamed of. And it's happening slowly and surely.
What's the piece about?
The piece is called The Meal. It's actually the journey that I took as a dancer from ballet into the contemporary abstract world. So I'm talking about the body that was ridiculed. Now I'm exposing all the parts that's shaking and doing everything. Because, you know, ballet is that strict. So now as a black woman, I'm deconstructing what I know. So I'm sick of the